Folks, welcome to the Jake Feinberg Show. Last station on the line here on my travels to Boise over the holiday. Get a chance to wrap things up with an incredible musician and great cat, Jake Freeman. Dejongh, welcome to the Jake Feinberg Show.
Hey, thanks for having me back again, man.
Yeah, man, welcome back. You talk about that song? Like, what is it? How does the germ of a song emanate with you?
That song is a new tune that we actually just recorded about a week ago, or began recording about a week ago, it started with the chorus, with kind of the mood of the chorus, which was sort of my homage to my love of Gene Clark, the former Bird, Gene Clark, in the album
Legend.
No Other. So the song and its recording is, I guess everybody will have to hear it, but it's lathered in pedal steel and George Harrison style slide guitars, and I started working on it last week, and I'm reaching Jimmy Page level guitar overdubs on it already. So, but yeah, it's called Cruel I Know, and it'll be probably a new tune for the next record that'll hopefully be out this next year.
You talk about the if you feel compelled to, even though you're not an elder, to be a leader in this community. It seems like a lot of young musicians, and obviously, ultimately at the end of the day, you can only focus on so much. But I wonder about you in terms of if you feel like it's about bringing cats together to create that community. It seems like this is the right place to do it.
Yeah, I think so. I think musicians have such a tendency to be kind of loners. My friend Nick said, what makes you be a good musician? Like spending a lot of time in a room alone by yourself. But no, man, it seems
It's so sick.
It seems like lately, like people are really, at least the people I play with regularly, like the cats I mentioned earlier, that Wade, who you hung out with earlier, and stuff, and Noble and stuff. There's definitely the spirit of folks just wanting to create together, which feels really good, because that's what the purpose of it is that we should be, music's meant to be played with people, for people and with people, and so there's definitely a scene for that here, and I think just like the time and space, and that we still can kind of afford to be artists and live here aids a lot to that, having the time and the spirit to do so, and whatnot.
That is so amazing. I would love you to talk about being able to go on a ride with Wade and Jeff Crosby's band when you guys stretch out on the bandstand. What is that feeling like?
Oh man, that band.
Because the live is different than anything. Have you been on studio recordings with Jeff?
I haven't played on any of his records,
okay.
No.
But the live context is open.
Yeah, no, it's different every night. It's definitely
wow.
It's definitely
it's worth the ride.
It's worth the ride. Yeah, we definitely have some special moments, and I like with Wade, I've played, other than our band, I've played in other bands with Wade now for 6 years. So generally as a rhythm, part of a rhythm section or a lead section with him, I feel like there's a sound that he and I have that bring to a vibe that's really cool. And I think it's just that I've probably played hundreds and hundreds of shows with him at this point. And there's at least with me and him, there's such a comfort level there of expression. It's really intuitive now to play with him,
That's fast, and that you would say that was not instantaneous, but almost with quickly.
I'd say it was pretty quick because I met him 5 or 6 years ago, and playing in a different band, this band called Rollin' Thunder, and that band we made one record down in Muscle Shoals, and then the band kind of stopped as they do. But with Wade, and people like him, he's so good, and he's so as a drummer, and as a human being, but as a drummer, he's just so good. It just makes it easy. I can't imagine anybody having a hard time playing with him, because he's just and the unique thing about him is that he plays like a songwriter or like a singer. He listens to the words, he wants lyrics, he reads the lyrics, he learns the melody. He has an incredible ear for melody. And then he plays to the song. He's not just playing time through it. He's playing to the
melodically.
tune.
Yeah,
melodically.
Yeah,
exactly.
I love it. Yeah, he's playing the tune.
Totally.
What was the impetus? What was the spark for you to pick up the pedal steel?
The pedal steel thing, man, was kind of
a cosmic cowboy experience.
Yeah, well, we talked about this last time, but I was living in Brooklyn, New York, and I was taking guitar lessons from a guy named Jason Laughlin, who's incredible
Still got to talk to that guy.
Musician, man.
Yeah.
He's one of my favorite guitar players, and he's so knowledgeable. And he has like the thing about Jason is that like not only is he like one of the like in his head like the best, but like his style is just like so fucking cool. But anyways, I was taking lessons from Jason and getting really into like 50s and 60s Nashville music.
Right. Curly Chalker kind of stuff.
I mean, Chet Atkins. I mean, like, Curly Chalker, totally. Lloyd Green. But I mean, like, really, at the first, getting into it from a guitar player's and a songwriter standpoint.
Right. Totally.
And then at that same time, I was working on my first record, and I really wanted somebody to play pedal steel on it. And I didn't know anybody. And I asked Jason even, and he was like, "Well, there's like one old dude who's in New Jersey or something."
Wow.
But, you know, you'd like maybe
shortage of pedal steel.
You know, so I was like, "Well, it's interesting." And then at that time, I started thinking, well, like, and Jason played some lap steel, which I never started that with him, but I started looking on Craigslist and stuff, you know, like reverb.com or wherever, if that was even around then. But like I remember looking on Craigslist for pedal steels, and I couldn't find one in New York.
Wow.
Like every once in a while one would come up, and I can't remember, there was a dude here who I knew who played. I sent it to him. "Hey man, is this, no, that one's busted, don't buy it," you know? So then it was when I moved back to Idaho, maybe about a year after the time I'm talking about now, and I was here in Boise, and I found one on Craigslist. It was an old ZB Custom, which is ZB Custom was this guy named Zane Beck, who had worked for Showbud. And then actually I think he had a shop in either California or then maybe Arizona, but he had built, like, the steel Jerry Garcia played was a ZB. So, like, I immediately knew it because the stuff that made me want to play steel really actually wasn't the Nashville stuff, even though that's how I kind of became hip to it. But it was Ben Keith and Neil Young's band, and it was Jerry Garcia, New Riders of the Purple Sage, and On Working Man's Dead and American Beauty. Like, that's why I wanted to play pedal steel.
That's amazing.
And so when I found the ZB, I said, okay, I can afford it. It's cheap. It's been recently serviced. I bought that one, started teaching myself, got a book that I received from Dale Watson steel guitar player.
You were self-taught on the steel.
At first. I mean, like, but it was like an arduous year because the hardest thing about it's the dexterity. But then once I found a teacher here, another local guy, who kind of helped me get started with my technique. And like, luckily, like I'd had the knowledge, just like fretboard knowledge and music theory knowledge of guitar, that all that part of the steel made sense easily.
Right.
And in that way, the steel guitar is actually like makes more sense than playing a regular guitar. Like the tuning is more sensible. It's really methodical. Everything on it serves a very specific function. Like nothing on it is aloof, you know?
Right.
And then I started getting into it, and I just really like, I started playing in a band, and I started realizing that like, oh wow, like this is like paying me more than playing guitar is. And I was really excited about it.
You were in demand.
Definitely. And you know, I was definitely playing like before I should have, as far as like my skill level, you know, like.
Well, but that's how you get better. You
totally,
get out there.
Totally. But then I really caught the bug, and I got really excited about it. And then I bought a nicer steel, upgraded from the ZB, bought a nicer steel, upgraded a bunch of times. And it really wasn't until maybe 3 or 4 years ago that I felt like I hit a growth spurt. Like I kind of got as good as I could get from books and the internet. And I took a video lesson from a guy named John Grayboff, who used to play in the Cardinals.
Legend, right? Beyond.
And so I ended up getting to take a few lessons from John Grayboff, which was, again, like he was kind of another person I connected with through the kind of Jason Laughlin, you know, like Brooklyn, Neil Casal kind of camp. I mean, that's how I knew about him, was from the Cardinals, you know.
Right on.
And so
Grayboff,
like, we got to did some, because he lives in Santa Fe, and so we were doing like some internet lessons and emailing, and he really kind of gave me like, okay, cool, like now I'm starting to get a way to think about this, because I felt like he was like the first real pedal steel player I talked to, who wasn't just like a dude who kind of knew what he was doing. Like he was like a dude who played on records that I loved, and I was like anything and he's like a direct disciple kind of like Lloyd Green too. Lloyd's my favorite ever. Like my guitar that I play now is a replica of Lloyd's guitar. Lloyd actually like, you know, he like signed it and touched it before I got it. So it's like, it's kind of got like the Lloyd DNA on it, which is cool.
Brother Matt says that he's the most absolutely like self-deprecating, so humble guy.
Yeah.
You know, in the studio, like a shaman kind of guy.
I bet, man. I mean, he is just so flawless. I mean, it kind
of
just,
no ego or anything, you know?
It kind of just took off, and the pedal steel community is really cool, because like there's a big age gap in steel players. There's dudes who are like above 75 who play, and then the kind of this thing happened, and if some people were building steel guitars in the 80s and 90s, but not like they were in the 60s and 70s. Like Showbud Company went out of business, Emmons Company went out of business. So there was kind of this gap in players. So a lot of these older cats who are steel players are like really excited to share their knowledge with the younger generation of players.
Right.
You know, and the internet obviously has made a lot of that possible too, like sharing information.
No, but Grabov's the perfect teacher.
Totally. And I just sort of started like, getting more gigs and loving it. And it kind of just became this whole other thing. And then I was able to start using it on my own recordings too, you know, which was really cool. And it's taught me so much about song. It's such an expressive instrument. Like you can just do things on it that you can't do on other instruments. It's that sound, you know.
I need you to talk about how you got into. I mean, you moved to Brooklyn, but Skinny Dennis, you know, specifically, give me like talk a little bit about the vibe that was created there, or that was there when you actually you know showed up.
Yeah, totally. So I mean, like that place. I remember going there, and that's where I first saw Jason play in his, I can't remember the name, I think his band's called, it was one of his bands. I can't remember if it was his Exotica band or just one of the kind of, you know, country cover bands that was playing there. But that's where I first saw Jason play, and that's how I got in contact with him to start kind of studying with him. And I would see him play there, and then sometimes I remember John would play with him sometimes. And my friend Sean, who I bartended with, Sean Walsh, who has a band called the National Reserve, who's still like a staple Brooklyn rock and roll band. I worked with Sean at a bar in Bed-Stuy called Dynaco. And Sean, I think he still plays there like at least every other Friday or maybe every Friday night or something. So I would just go there really to watch Jason play. That's why I was always go there to watch Jason play. But also they just curated good bands there and had a cool scene, because in New York City, Americana country music isn't really a thing. Like, you know, there's a lot of folk, there's a lot of bluegrass, and then of course there's like all the constant innovative stuff that's happening every day that's just, you know, like the Mac DeMarco stuff that was happened at that time too, but not a lot of like traditional stuff. And so the Skinny Dennis scene was cool because it was a place where you could go see people play Telecasters and lap steels, and play a lot of those, you know, that style of music, 50s and 60s kind of, you know, Nashville West Coast style country music and stuff like that.
Did you get a chance? Like, did you play with Zeph at all?
I never played with him. I don't really know him. I just saw him play there. Actually, I saw him play there. I don't know if I ever saw him play there. I actually saw him play with John here once at the Olympic here in Boise.
Oh, they opened for Circles.
It's something. I can't remember what show it was. I just remember seeing him play. It was a while ago. But I never played at Skinny Dennis. When I was in New York, I was just doing a lot of like solo singer-songwriter kind of folky style stuff.
What was the strange? Did you wind up on any funk gigs with that?
I never played any funk there. I lived in a building where there was like these dudes in the basement in Bushwick had a venue in their place, and they had a lot of jazz funk jams there, a lot of horn-based
venue?
stuff. Yeah, like in the back half of the loft, they'd like built it's like a soundproof studio basically, but it was a venue, and they'd have jazz cats come play there that was like pretty funky horn-oriented style stuff, which was really cool.
Is that something that you would like to do a little bit of?
I love the funky stuff, dude. A lot of the new stuff I've found myself writing lately is coming from the funk. Because, like, when I was a little kid, my first guitar teacher was, like, a funk head. And so that was, like, some of the first stuff I ever jammed on. And it's, like, when I jam, like, with Wade or whatever, dude, like, it's, like, the funk rhythm style guitar playing that, like, you know, people like, the funk R&B stuff is where, like, I really find them, like, Curtis Mayfield and, like, Reggie Young is one of my favorite guitar players ever. I'm doing, like, the kind of just the funky R&B stuff, you know.
Absolutely. David T. Walker.
Totally. I mean, I love that stuff.
Chank, you know, just like, but that's what I wanted to ask you about, younger cats especially. How important was it for you to develop good time and rhythm? How important is it to get a gig? To me, you need to have good internal time and rhythm, and especially like that, the deep rhythm leads to improvisational licks.
Totally, man. And, you know, for me personally, like, that's something that I've really just been working on a lot these last couple of years, is just playing really good rhythm. Because I think that it's crucial to getting gigs and playing. You know, I mean, like, everybody wants to play solos and leads, right? And, like, that's cool. But it's not like, you know, it's more important to be able to keep the song together and keep the band going, especially if you're playing with a singer or something, right? Like, if you're playing instrumental music, maybe that's a little different. But if you're playing with a singer, you know, you got to stay locked in with drums and bass. And that's something I think is super important. It's something I've been just like drilling myself on, just like playing with the metronome and just really trying to like get my get my right hand, whether it's with guitar and steel, just like tight, playing really consistent rhythm and just keeping it solid through a song, you know? And it's kind of really become like a meditation for me, just like trying to get into a rhythm and just keeping it going for 20 minutes and developing it and keeping it changing, you know?
Right, keep it interesting.
Yeah.
That's right.
But I think it's huge, man. I mean, like, I'm always impressed with people who can come into a gig and just know how to do that thing and just play the song first and foremost. You know, that's something that like Mattson that I really talk about with him is just play the song, you know, and play it well, learn the structure and keep it going, you know.
That it's sometimes not less is more, but just very simplified situation where you're playing the contours. You know, I'm not going to let you get out of here without playing. Do you have an instrumental tune you can play?
I don't have any instrumental.
But, I mean, you were warming up. You were ripping, dude.
I don't know.
Just leave me on a jet plane
man, I'm like,
from
you know
Boise.
what's funny is I'm not even like.
Yeah, well, just play whatever you want. No worries.
Let's see here. What?
Jake Freeman Dejongh, man. What an honor.
I just played you that one new one. It's a little rickety still. What's another thing? Okay, here. I'll play you some of this one off of that Dreadful Feelings record because it turned out to be a big production song with all the horns on it. But when I wrote it, it came from a place of just being like a George Harrison kind of thing, combined with what else was I listening to at the time? A lot of Paul Simon, Still Crazy After All These Years. Anyways, I'll play this song for you. It's called Dreadful Feelings, and I wrote this song.
You feel like there were like the song structures were based off of that, or the groove, because the grooves, groove out.
I think that it was both. I think that the grooves had something to do with it. This song particularly, I knew I wanted to write a song for my friend Andy to play horns on. And so I kind of just had the stabs in mind. I used to play saxophone when I was like in junior high and elementary and high school. And
Circular breathing, Ross on Roland Kirk.
Yeah. You know, I just wanted to hear like the punches, you know.
Right.
And so definitely some of that.
No, you were playing that old R&B. Jimmy Heath used to play with James Brown and stuff, you know.
You know, my friend Andy who did the horns on this, like I kind of wrote this song with him in mind. The instrumental part of it, at least, like because he's so good, like he's the best, has the best ear and chops of anyone I've ever met. So I was like, I need to give him something that he's going to be like maybe a little bit impressed with. You know what I mean? Like I can't just give him like a folk song or something like that. You know?
He was cool with it.
Yeah, he was, and it was funny because when he recorded the parts, he did like I just asked him to play saxophone on it, and then he sent it back like 6 hours later. I got an email at like 3 a.m, and he had done like a 5-part horn arrangement, you know, with like the bass clarinet, the baritone, I mean like everything. And
it was
like,
jazz.
It was like perfect, you know. And I was like hoping he would like at least like have to ask me somewhere what the song was doing, you know. Okay, I'll play this one.
Take us home, man.
This one's a little. I guess it's got some of that rhythm.
See you next time, Boise.
Start that over. I just got in my head about that.
Yeah. Jake Feinberg Show. We'll see you later.